Remember Hillary? She said deplorable. And then she said irredeemable, right? But she said deplorable. That didn't work out. Garbage, I think, is worse, right? But he doesn't know. You have to please forgive him. Please forgive him, for he not knoweth what he said.
I'm sure that his comments will become more and more harsh or unhinged moving forward. That was actually ridiculously toned down considering what I was expecting him to do. But can we just please not provide cover for our leaders when they make mistakes like this? That was a terrible mistake that Biden made. It should not be justified. Again, if you're a private citizen and you have your personal views about the Republican electorate, that's on you and that's your business. You have not taken an oath to represent the country. You're not the president of the United States. And I don't know why anyone would think it's a good idea to celebrate or applaud political culture in this country that allows for the president to just regularly trash tens of millions of people that he himself is supposed to be representing. That is not a good culture to set. And things will just continue devolving. I don't think that this is a winning thing to do. I'm not proud of what Biden did. And honestly, the thing that frustrates me even more is that after he made those statements, even though he was on video making those statements, a bunch of people are totally gaslighting about how it didn't happen. It's totally made up, it's fake. It's a scary world that we're currently living in, where a lot of people, a lot of voters, a lot of people in the media, just not based in, their views are not based in reality at all. And they would rather lie to people in order to cover up a mistake or a terrible act of an individual in a position of power. I don't even recognize what's happened to the Democratic Party anymore, to be honest.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about more of the fallout that the mainstream liberal media is desperately trying to move on from due to the fact that Joe Biden said that Trump supporters are garbage, okay? He called half the country garbage. 70+ million people who voted for Trump and probably more who support Trump, but unfortunately didn't vote for him for whatever reason, right? So we're talking about, who knows, probably at least 100 million, 200 million people, right, said they're garbage, okay, for supporting the former president. Now, you have some honest actors in the media, like, for example, Kasparian, who is coming out and calling out the liberal media and Democrats and liberals for essentially lying about what Biden said, trying to pretend as if he didn't say what he said. And then you also have some people celebrating what he said, basically saying, well, yeah, they are garbage, right? We mean that, okay? Right? Biden was right, okay? And then he should say things like that, while at the same time, these are the same people who boo-hoo, whine, and cry about everything that Trump says, even though it is being taken out of context, right? These are the same people who are trying to excuse and cover up what Biden said, okay? And the liberal media is continuing to do so, okay? Because we all know what the excuse is from the media, right? Either they're just flat out saying that he didn't actually say that, or they're trying to say, well, he said that, but you don't understand. You didn't hear the apostrophe, right? There was an apostrophe S in there. That is the excuse that they are using. Again, and this is why they're continuing to defend Biden's comments while trying to desperately pivot back to the comedian's joke or some comment that Trump said out of context. Take a look.
The hypocrisy, Mika, over a misstatement by Joe Biden, which he quickly corrected, is so laughable, because this guy does this every day. And then you turn on Fox News and say, oh, how could anybody do this? I've never seen this before from a president. Despite the fact, one of the people saying that yesterday on Fox News stood by while Donald Trump watched violence erupt on January the 6th and kept allowing violence to erupt on January the 6th, and said the people that were beating the hell out of cops were patriots. So yes. Willie, the gaslighting never ends. They really do think that their voters are that stupid. And it makes me sad for those voters that Donald Trump and people on TV, on other channels, really think Americans are that dumb.
Yeah, and let's not forget Donald Trump has spent the last couple of weeks calling the entire country a garbage can.
This week marks a huge mistake for Donald Trump in a community within the Latino world that he desperately needs.
Yeah,
Would you say that as far as surrogates go this week, it was a bigger problem for a comedian that most people have never heard of, or was it a bigger problem for Joe Biden as a surrogate to call half the country garbage, or even a bigger problem today for Mark Cuban to insult women voters who are thinking of voting Republican? Of those three surrogate issues, which would you say, Biden and Cuban, or this guy? I can't even remember his name.
The one difference in that is the reaction to it. I see your point, Scott, and we obviously talked about Biden's remark here. We're going to talk about Mark Cuban's comment in a moment. But Biden came out immediately to clarify that. Mark Cuban came out today to talk about his. Donald Trump has just claimed he didn't know who the comedian was at his
I'm sure
rally.
he doesn't, A, and B,
But he's still at his rally.
the campaign had a statement out before Donald Trump ever even took the stage. They dealt with it immediately. No, that statement came out after the rally was over. I know, because I was at Madison Square Garden for 8 hours on Sunday.
Again, the campaign is not the candidate. The candidate could have persuaded and spoken against this, and he has not.
Then you must agree that it's been kind of weird for the Kamala Harris's campaign through anonymous statements from staffers to change all of her positions on every issue then?
Wait, Scott, just come back to this. You had a guy on the stage at Madison Square Garden, the most prominent arena in the country, insult the Puerto Rican people.
Joe Biden insulted half the country. Mark Cuban insulted
half. But that's a great
the other half
redirection. I want to ask you this.
Are there more Puerto Ricans or more women?
Joe Biden's also not running.
People, and
neither is this comedian.
Trump took a pass on it.
I'm sorry.
You're a former campaign manager. You would never let that happen, would you? Would you?
Number one, this pre-program was not helpful. I have said that numerous times. Number two, the fact that you all want to turn this campaign into something about an idiot comedian and want to ignore the clear bumbling stupidity of the president and Mark Cuban, to me, speaks volumes about
Donald Trump.
Yeah, we got to pray for our guy, Scott Jennings, okay? Because I'm cheering him on in regards to the impossible task of actually having some sane commentary on CNN, right? That's not just overt Democrat Party propaganda. Because the point that he's making there is that you guys are harping on a comedian making a joke at a rally, but you don't seem to care about Joe Biden calling half the country garbage. Or Mark Cuban, who's an official surrogate for Kamala Harris. He's a Kamala Harris campaign mouthpiece, going on The View and stating that Trump has never surrounded himself with women that are intelligent or strong, right? Basically calling any woman that Trump has been around dumb and weak, right? This is what Mark Cuban said. Now, if a Republican surrogate, if a Trump surrogate said that about Democrat Party women, we all know that these people will be losing their mind. They be boohoo, whining, crying, sexism, bigotry, hate, misogyny. But when it comes to Mark Cuban, he gets a pass, right? But a comedian, though, a comedian making a joke, oh, man, it's the worst thing ever, right? Biden calling Trump supporters garbage. Oh, well, you got to understand there's an apostrophe S there, okay? He didn't really say that, blah, 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 right? They make every excuse in the world.
On the garbage comment, the transcript sent by the White House has it as possessive and not plural. The statement, the only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters, apostrophe S. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable and it's un-American. It's totally contrary to everything we've done, everything that we've been. Some debate over there since yesterday about whether it was plural or possessive, just to the caller's point of what he said.
Yeah, and I, as a conservative lawyer, I am a textualist, and you have to, part of the ruling, way you examine a text is you look at the entire sentence, okay? And the entire sentence makes sense that there is a possessive there. When we speak, we do not say apostrophe, although Donald Trump has shown that he doesn't know what an apostrophe is, by the way.
People can see the hypocrisy of the media on full display, right? It has never been more clear than what we're seeing right now in the media. Okay, it's never been more clear. So with that being said, this scandal involving Biden and his garbage comment about Trump supporters is getting worse, because now it is being revealed that the White House has actually altered the transcript of the Biden comment. Remember, the excuse that these people came out with for what Biden said was that, well, again, there's an apostrophe S there. Read the transcript, right? This is what the transcript from the White House says. Now, this is a problem because the White House actually edited that transcript, despite the fact that the stenographers, the people whose job is to actually transcribe what the president said, they interpret it differently than what the White House had put out there. This is what they said. According to the stenographers, Biden said, quote, "The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters," okay, without an apostrophe, okay, which would imply that he's talking about Trump supporters. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable and it's un-American. Okay, so the transcript released by the White House threw an apostrophe S in there. So again, the people whose job it is to actually transcribe what Biden said, interpret it the same way that essentially most of the country interpreted it, and they are now calling out the White House for ducking protocol and editing the transcript and putting out there for the mainstream liberal media to run propaganda without actually going through the official steps that you're supposed to take before releasing a transcript like that. Because again, it's not the White House's job to interpret what Biden said, to transcribe what he said, but they did it anyways. They edited the official transcript in order to, again, try to cover up for what everybody knows Biden said. Take a look.
And we have a story about White House stenographers. First time this whole cycle. The White House stenographers come with the House. They are not political. Some of them have been there since Trump and will be there after Biden. And they are now as mad as you will ever hear a stenographer on the record that White House officials working for President Biden tried to change the meaning of their transcript. So it sounded like the president on that Zoom with Voto Latino was just criticizing a comedian instead of all Trump supporters. So now we've got a supervisor from the stenographer's office who is saying, "Our stenography office transcript released to our distro, which includes the National Archives, is now different than the version edited and released to the public by press office staff." And Amy Sands, the director of that department, continued, "Please avoid sharing rush drafts and excerpts, which are subject to review and might create confusion among staff, media, and the public, while our stenography office completes a thorough review process." The White House is not explaining what exactly happened here, just to say the president confirmed in his tweet on Tuesday evening that he was addressing the hateful rhetoric from the comedian at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally. That was reflected in the transcript. And they're getting some help keeping MSG top of mind from J-Lo.
At Madison Square Garden, he reminded us who he really is and how he really feels. It wasn't just Puerto Ricans that were offended that day. Okay? It was every Latino in this country. It was humanity and anyone of decent character.
The Harris campaign keeps losing control of news cycles because of this garbage comment and the cleanup, and White House staff apparently trying to change the meaning of something that everybody who has watched the clip could hear with their own ears. It is looking like this is becoming a case, a classic DC case of the cover-up being worse than the crime, and the crime was pretty politically bad. Back to you.
And Peter, just to underline, you do think this is as angry as the stenographers have been ever
I know, it's so
in the White House? Would you back that up? Do you have a second source?
Fox confirms the stenographers, you never hear them say anything. They're always just sitting like 2 feet away from the president with a long microphone and a recorder. And now they're going on the record. And also, the stenographer's office apparently has a leak.
When the stenographer's going on the record, who types it?
We're picturing the grandmother like angrier than she's ever been.
They're probably just all in a line. Right, they're probably all in a line. There is a stenographer next to the stenographer with a mic to make sure that they got it right. They'll all check their notes. But this is a serious issue.
It is.
And
Peter,
we've all seen over the last couple of years when it comes to White House staff giving stuff to the National Archives, they want to have everything, and it has to be exactly right. The stenographers are there for a reason. It's so the political appointees cannot come in and just try to change the historical record, and that is what they are very gently but publicly accusing the White House of doing.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. I want you guys to understand. Again, the stenographer's official job is to transcribe what the president says, okay? And it's important that there's distance between the political appointees of the Biden administration, right? The people whose job it is to push propaganda on behalf of Biden. It's important to keep distance between them and the official stenographers, people who are not political, right? They're just there to do one job, which is to basically transcribe what the president says. The way they interpreted what Biden said is the same way that everybody else in this country interpreted what he said, right? They heard that, okay? And what they transcribe goes to the National Archives, right? So this is the official record of what the president said, okay? So in the official records, Biden called all Trump supporters garbage, okay? More than half the country, the sitting president of the United States. This is how the officials interpret it, right? This is on record forever, okay? Forever. This is on record. But that is different than what the White House, Biden's White House press team is saying that Biden said, their version of the transcript. Because they edited it for political reasons in order to try to do damage control on behalf of Kamala Harris, knowing that it would possibly affect her in this upcoming election. Somebody has to be charged for this because apparently, according to Elise Stefanik and House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer, who are saying that they are probably going to launch an investigation into this, this could be a violation of the Presidential Records Act of 1978. Somebody has to be held accountable because, again, you got to understand the implications here, right? The White House took an official transcript and they edited it for political purposes to affect the outcome of an election. That in and of itself is basically the Biden administration using the White House, weaponizing the White House for political purposes to help out the Kamala Harris campaign, in which they're supposed to be distant between the campaign and the official activities of the White House. They're supposed to be separate, okay? They're not supposed to intermingle with each other like this, okay? You're not supposed to be weaponizing the White House in order to help a political campaign, right? That's not what you're supposed to do. But clearly, this is what's happening right now. This is what the White House did when they decided to edit Biden's transcript. And again, it's just hilarious because now that this is coming out, where are all those people that claim that, oh, well, look, this is what the transcript says. This is what the official transcript says. Turns out, again, that transcript is not the actual official transcript from the stenographers, the people whose jobs it is to actually transcribe and interpret what Biden said. No. That's not how they interpret it. That was the transcript of political actors from the White House. And the media ran with this. They ran with it as if, again, this was an official record when it wasn't. In order to defend Biden and his comments, to gaslight the American people about what he said. This is crazy. This is crazy. What is happening before this election, guys, right? Going into this election, it should be an eye-opener to the American people. The average American currently watching the mainstream liberal media conduct a disinformation operation on behalf of the Kamala campaign and the Democrat Party. They're doing it right in front of your face. These are the same people that always complain about misinformation, disinformation. But these people are the biggest pushers, peddlers of disinformation / misinformation in this country, right? Ain't it funny how that works? Again, another example of projection from the Democrat Party. This is classic disinformation. This is textbook disinformation. And it's been put out there by the White House. The same people boo-hoo, whine, and cry about disinformation all day long. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And they got caught. They got caught, busted, doing exactly what they claim they're against. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.